I've had literally hundreds of women comment on my YouTube videos, email me, call me, text me. So many of these women are really struggling with their memory, with thinking clearly. These women are scared that they're headed toward dementia or maybe even Alzheimer's. I'm Steve Goldring from simplehormones.com. I help patients and healthcare practitioners with easy to understand patient education resources. Most of those resources are about hormones and hormone optimization with a special emphasis on menopause. You can't remember where you left your keys. You can't remember where you parked your car. You forgot to pick up your daughter at school. Sometimes you even forget your son's name or your dog's name. You're getting frustrated just trying to find that word or that name that you're just positive you know it. It's coming to you, but you just can't quite put your finger on it. Well, I'm here to let you know 3 keys to what's called the fog of menopause. There's one major menopause symptom that leads to the fog of menopause. That's the first key. More importantly, there is a root problem underneath that single symptom. And many women, even many doctors, have zero clue about it. The second key is that you're not alone in feeling this frightening loss of your mental abilities. And the third key is that there is hope. You can go back to feeling like yourself, the way you used to feel. You can feel sharp and able to think clearly. You can remember all that important stuff that you've struggled to remember. You can get back to handling all those plates that you've had to keep spinning in your hectic life. So let's talk about the problem underneath the problem. There's a principle in logic that's called Occam's razor. Occam's razor says that the simplest explanation is most likely the right explanation. In the case of the fog of menopause, I propose that there's an extremely simple explanation for those memory problems that you've been struggling with. There's a very simple explanation for the fact that you can't find your keys, you can't find your car, you can't remember why you even came into this room in the first place, you can't remember to take something out of the freezer for dinner. The reason you're struggling with memory and clear thinking is sleep deprivation. Sure, there may be some other factors. Your hormones are probably out of whack, especially your estradiol. You're struggling with a million different relational issues, stress, kids, marriage, work, school, neighbors, finances, household chores, laundry. All that stuff can definitely contribute to your scatterbrain and your forgetfulness. But ultimately, if you were to get a solid 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night, all that other stuff would pretty much work itself out. My conversations with women in menopause have me convinced that sleep deprivation, the simplest explanation, is the real problem that leads to your memory and thinking issues. The second thing I want to help you with and help you understand about the fog of menopause is that you're not alone. Here's what a few of the women I've talked with have to say directly to me about sleep and menopause. I have months in a row of a maximum accumulation of 3 hours of sleep, sometimes less. There are no words to describe my night sweats. I imagine hell being similar. Hot flashes all day long, night sweats every night. I only sleep 3 or 4 hours a night, constantly tired, no energy ever. Takes everything I have to make it through each day. Poor concentration, hard to stay focused, depression, mood swings. I've had these issues for about 6 years. Brain fog, I mean major. Forgetting your children's names, can't remember people you've met before and had long conversations with. Well, how many hours of sleep are you getting? 2? Maybe 3? Most nights? Maybe you're one of the lucky ones and you're getting 5 hours. Sometimes. If that's you, you're clearly not alone, based on the women that I've talked to. This is a menopause symptom that many people, both patients and doctors, fail to recognize as related to menopause. You might just figure you're getting older and you're sleeping poorly and you're not making that connection. The third point I have to make about the fog of menopause is this. There is hope. When I say there is hope, I'm not talking about sleeping pills. I'm also not talking about turning down the thermostat, drinking herbal tea, meditating before bedtime, taking a hot bath, putting an essential oil infuser in your bedroom, getting plenty of exercise, maybe even practicing yoga. All that natural stuff is great. Go for it. But none of that helps with the root problem. the problem that's underneath the sleep deprivation problem that you've experienced. The real problem isn't actually the sleep deprivation. The root problem is the loss of progesterone. The loss of progesterone is something that starts happening even in perimenopause years before, and then when you actually get to menopause, it can even be worse. That's what's preventing you from sleeping, the loss of progesterone. And sleep deprivation is making you frustrated about your memory and your cloudy thinking. Unless you address the progesterone deficiency, you'll never really get to the root of your sleep problem or your memory and your thinking struggles. I mentioned in another video recently that there is a very small percentage of women who can't tolerate progesterone, especially oral micronized progesterone. Well, while that's unfortunate, progesterone is, for the vast majority of women, an absolute miracle hormone that'll totally save you from that nightmare of sleeping 2 or 3 hours every single night for months on end. I've heard from hundreds of women who absolutely love the way they sleep since they got their hormones, especially progesterone, optimized. Progesterone in a pill form has been a lifesaver for my sleeping. I take 250 milligrams nightly. I average 6.5 to almost 7 hours of sleep a night. I'd like more, but I function well with those hours. Before progesterone and HRT, I was only getting around 4 hours a night. I couldn't live or sleep without oral progesterone, as I used to use a prescribed cream and it stopped working. I've been on 100 milligrams of Prometrium, which is a brand of progesterone, nightly for 3 months now, and the quality of sleep has increased tremendously. Sleeping more often the whole night through. No longer awakened by hot flashes and night sweats. I currently am not having any of those bad side effects that I mentioned in my recent video. Other than that progesterone is a miracle drug that helps me sleep and I feel more balanced, I kind of wish they made micronized progesterone in smaller doses. So the best way to address your progesterone deficiency is by seeing somebody who really knows what they're doing to optimize your hormones. Your OBGYN or your primary care doctor might be able to help you. That's a great place to start, but don't be surprised if your doctor dismisses your concerns about insomnia, or maybe tells you they refuse outright to prescribe progesterone, especially if you've had a hysterectomy. Take my word for it. That's kind of a whole other story that I'll talk about in another video. So here are 2 options. Checking with your regular doctor first, asking them a few questions, finding out what they can do for your insomnia, and if they're willing to give you oral progesterone to address that root problem we talked about. Make sure that what they prescribe is something called oral micronized progesterone and not a progestin, which is completely different, and it will have 0 impact on your ability to sleep. I've got something that I call the HRT Questions Framework. It's a very simple 1-page document that helps you have an open, frank conversation with your regular doctor or your OBGYN. You'll want to ask them about their approach to hormones without sort of attacking them or putting them on the defensive. These are open-ended questions that really facilitate a real conversation. Click the link to download that document and start talking. It's called the HRT Questions Framework. It's also possible that your doctor isn't willing or able to help you. In that case, click the other link on this video that says Find a Hormone Specialist. I can check to see if I know somebody near you that has the training and experience and expertise to help optimize all your hormones and get you feeling like yourself again. If this video has been helpful at all, click the like and subscribe buttons and ding that little bell to make sure you don't miss any of the new videos that I post. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll look forward to talking to you again next time.